podcast. I'm Olga S. Pérez, and you are watching the Olga S. Pérez Show live. The place to be to talk about real stuff. I almost said shit. Welcome to... Oh my God. If you guys have been watching my other episodes, I think this is like the second time I do this, where I forget to mute it so that you're not hearing me repeat myself in the background. But anyway, let me make sure everything's up and running. Let me know if you guys can hear me well. How's it going? How you doing? Where are you plugging in from? Make sure to leave it in the chat. I'm looking at it right now. I want to make sure that we get that. All right. Okay. Well, today's very interesting because did you guys already see? Oh my God. I saw this. First of all, do you know who Jordan Peterson is? I don't know him personally, not yet, but, I read everything about this guy. I've watched him for a long time. Pretty much. I don't think there's much about him that I have not read or watched. Okay. But this one, I don't know. It's tough because I got a few favorites. And it's not that I think he's perfect or great or that I agree with everything. No one can agree with everything everybody says because nobody's perfect, right? But this, wow, I mean, this guy for a psychotherapist or somebody, older and calm and so well poised and, well spoken. Again, whether you like him or not, I'm going to be talking about his latest video. And I'm going to explain why. I want to hear your input. Definitely, if you're watching this replay or listening to the podcast, then make sure to leave a comment. Reach out to me under the description too. My email information is there, so you could always reach out to me as well. If you want to be a guest on my podcast or you would like me to show up at your podcast, I would love to. Let me know. So I know I am just making sure that things are working correctly. Yeah. While you're here, hit the like button. Show me some love. Share this podcast. And like I said, if you're watching, let me know in the comments where are you watching from? What part of the world are you at? Know what I mean? All right. So I am going to screen share in a little bit. And I'm going to show you bits of the video. And I'm also going to include the link below this video when I'm done. So you guys can check it out there, or you could just look it up. So the video from Jordan Peterson today is called, let me see, Liars, Doctors, Psychotherapists, Liars, and Butchers. Now, it wasn't the title that got me. Well, actually, no, I just lied. Yeah, no, it did. The title did catch me. And I was like, oh, and because lately he's been doing these little solos, from his hotel. He's on tour right now. And I love like he's writing pieces and he's sharing them on video. And, he's almost poetic in my opinion. But again, I'm going to make this very clear. None of my contact. I might talk about politics because it's part of our world and life and how it affects our life. Because that's what I'm all about. Having discussions about what's happening in the world and dissecting it in a different way and kind of being more, a little funny about it. Sometimes I get extreme. I get very passionate. I get a lot heated up, but ultimately it's about, sharing my insight with you on how I see it, because I keep hearing all this left and right rebuttals constantly. It's like, because the left this and the right that, you know what I mean? So I want to make it very clear. If you're new to my channel, if you've already been here, very clear. Everything I'm going to say, do not try to put me on one side or the other. Because I'm all about humanity, spirituality. And you just have to be open-minded. Okay, guys? And bear with me. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment and share this video. Like this video. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let me I want to make sure that I'm trying to, guys, if you want to know what I'm doing, I'm actually trying to find where is the chat. I'm still getting used to this. Going through Zoom is what I've been using lately to do my lives. And okay, I found the chat. I found the chat, guys. I found it. I mean, I found it earlier because I texted while we're live. Hi. So, okay. Let's get right into it. You know what? I'm gonna make this podcast today sweet, short, sweet, simple. Let's get to the point. And I'm going to screen share. I don't usually get this quiet. Thank you for your patience, guys. All right, you see that? You guys seeing that? Yes. Okay, I know. It's like, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. You could see me. Let's play him. Let's go, Jordan. Jordan Peterson. After this beautiful commercial. It's not even the one I can skip. The beauty of live stream. Seriously, though, I'm live streaming so that you guys can talk to me. Let's talk. Let's create a community of truth, of being yourself for real. Can you guys hear that? Let's talk. Let's create a community of truth, which seems to be going being yourself for real. Oh my God. I don't know why. June 16th, 2022. All right, he was just doing an intro. You didn't miss much. A couple of articles for the Telegraph, one of which I'm going to read to you today, called Butchers and Liars. We are sacrificing our children on the altar of a malicious far-left ideology. The medical profession is crumbling in response to radical transgender activists. There's good evidence that many ancient societies sacrificed children to their gods. Parents in ancient Phoenician colonies in Carthage, Sicily, Sardinia, and Malta slew their offspring prior to cremating them, hoping that the gods would hear their voices. That's true. That's true. We are greatly appalled by this. So people need to know their history. That's why there's all this back and forth and arguing. I mean, it's easy to be like, well, I believe this and I think this is right. And this. Seriously, you need to, before you say it, before you become reactive, really find out who we are as a species. Why do we behave the way we behave? There's nothing new under the sun, guys. Don't think that we're more advanced than any other society. Not really. And we'll get into that debate some other time. We'll talk about the machine and technology and how in many ways we're like going backwards, guys. And for some of you, you know what I mean. And for others of you, look into it because we don't even know how to feed ourselves like we used to. And we did it for how many years? Tell me they taught you that in school, right? Or at least you read a book about it. Okay, let's go back to Jordan. Sometimes I wonder whether we understand child sacrifice far more than we like to admit. I saw a video the other day featuring an American surgeon bragging that he had performed more than 3,000 double mastectomies on young women who had paid for gender reassignment. See, why is the doctor bragging about that? Because that's the cool thing to do. That's the hive mind. That's, I want approval. Narcissist, right? Like, there's just no way. You've got to be sick. You can't be a professional and a compassionate person. Why would I brag about all the people I've helped in my life? Seriously, I give them all the credit. Anybody I've ever helped, anybody who's ever come to me and said, you helped me so much, you were so great, you were such a great support, you didn't judge me, you gave me some, all this stuff. I don't have to say, look what I did. I feel it in my soul. And whether you think you have a soul or not, you're made out of energy. For all of you out there that don't believe in the soul, I get you. I'm telling you, I understand all of you. Like, don't be fixated on one thing. Don't be thinking, oh, she believes in the soul, she's all religious. It's so much deeper than that. Energy is a real thing. All that you are is energy. Without energy, you're dead. Okay? So let's get our facts straight, and who we are at a core in this 3D is energy, aka light. All right, let's go for it.
It was confused, one might say encouraged, by those who profit from it into believing that their adolescent emotional trials can be cured and happiness reign forever if they subject themselves to this brutal practice. And it is brutal, a process that often includes not only the aforementioned mastectomies, but other appalling surgical processes. Orchiectomy, that's castration in blunter language, the removal of the uterus, the demolition of the musculature of the forearm to make what is not a penis, but must be referred to as such. All of that. For someone purporting to be a physician to perform this on children, to me at least, seems like something worthy of a prison sentence. Whatever happened to the doctrine expressed by the ancient language as primum non nocere? First, do no harm. The Hippocratic Oath has been replaced by a delusion, a belief that can be summarized as, by blocking the puberty of children and then surgically altering them, we are only restoring what is theirs by right. A child's feelings are the final arbiters of their reproductive destiny, and any attempt to contest their gender identity risks increasing their proclivity for suicide. Lies. 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 Then?
And we can analyze this, okay? He's saying lies. Now, again, he's giving it to you in short. He's not going to go down why exactly this video would be much longer if he would exactly tell you detail for detail why they're lying, to prove to everyone why he's saying that they're liars, liars, and liars. He knows. I studied human behavior. I still do. I'm a life strategist. I have to understand people, culture, from all walks of life, all ages. And when he's saying something like that, liars, 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 it's because the people in the industry, people like himself, a psychotherapist, like myself, life coach, wellness people that really know what they're doing, right? They know that you can't say these things, that we're not supposed to. I mean, there's codes, there's, responsibilities. Again, compassion. It's like people are really bastardizing the term compassion. And that's something I'm very passionate about, which is why I chose to talk about this video today. And I can't wait to hear you guys' comments, but he's not just saying liars just because he's judging them. It's coming from facts, and the people in the industry that he's pointing the finger at, they know it. No matter how crazy and how they're pretending with pictures and all that shit, they know it.
Butchery. Changing standards. Psychologists, those in my own personal field of medicine, have also surrendered to this groupthink. The American Psychological Association's Task Force on Guidelines for Psychological Practice with Transgender and Gender Nonconforming People, TGNC, insist that psychologists and other professional counselors offer trans-affirmative care, starting with such niceties as displaying TGNC affirmative resources in waiting areas. Practitioners are also asked to examine how their language, e.g., use of incorrect pronouns and names may reinforce the gender binary in overt or subtle and unintentional ways. These guidelines first read like a manual of indoctrination written by Marxist ideologues, and second, like a document designed to undermine and destroy the practice of therapy itself. But at an alarming rate, these guidelines have transformed themselves into punitive laws governing what a psychologist or counselor may say and think in relation to their clients. Let me make myself perfectly clear. Speaking as a professional, whether in America, Britain, or anywhere, it is not the place of a therapist to affirm or conversely to deny the identity of anyone whom they admit into their care. People come to see a therapist often after long and painful deliberation because they are suffering, confused, or both. The job of that therapist is to listen, to question, and to proceed with due caution, neither providing cheap advice and thereby stealing their clients' successes or heaping failure upon them, nor assuming special knowledge of the proper outcome for a given individual. There is simply no way I would ever tell a 15-year-old adolescent that she is absolutely correct if sometimes she feels more masculine than feminine, however that feeling might emerge, and that if she feels that surgery is the answer, then recommend hormones that day. I would instead spend many weeks, even perhaps many months or years, listening to her unwrap her story, using caution as my watchword, and help her to come to some thorough and well-developed understanding of both her autobiographical history and her destiny. That is not affirmation, and neither is it denial. How could I possibly dare to do either when someone has come to me because they are mixed up and desperate, a state of twinned experience indicating a profound confusion about identity itself? Radical new guidelines. I am focusing on the American Psychological Association, APA, because it is the body charged with establishing the norms and ideals for clinical practice in the most populous democracy on earth. Principles that will and are spread around the West more broadly, including in Britain. Some of their guidelines are appalling enough to deserve dissection. Guideline 1. Psychologists understand that gender is a non-binary construct that allows for a range of gender identities and that a person's gender identity may not align with sex assigned at birth. I don't understand this radical postmodern definition of gender, one that rests on a person's deeply felt or inherent sense of being one sex over another, regardless of biology. Psychologically, it is indisputably the case that a non-trivial proportion of males have a feminine temperament, which essentially means that they experience higher levels of negative emotion, such as anxiety and the analogs of pain, grief, frustration, disappointment, depression, and are more agreeable, compassionate, polite than typical males. And equally true that a non-trivial proportion of females have a masculine temperament. But this does not change how, objectively, professionals should measure a person's gender. Psychologists once cared if measurement followed standard practices of validity and reliability. Try reading, for example, a document published by the APA itself in 2014, where you will learn that a psychologist worthy of his salt is obliged to utilize constructs, i.e. terms such as gender, in a technically appropriate manner. This means at the very least that fundamental attributes must be measurable and measured properly. But all that goes out the window when we're discussing the magic of gender now, which is entirely subjectively defined, even though that insistence indubitably contravenes the earlier standards. But feelings uber alles, folks, and it's no joke, particularly if you're 15 and have undergone surgery that makes you incapable of reproducing, often to foster someone else's sense of moral superiority or sense of self attributed. compassion, a word that increasingly makes me shudder when I encounter it. New doctrines. Psychologists are also now adopting the simple-minded and anything but revolutionary doctrine of intersectionality without...
Oh, that word. I remember when yeah. Okay. See, that's the other thing that got me from this video and his article is that word right there. It sounds okay. If you got to look up the definition of words, that's what the point I'm getting at. I'm not going to get into the word. We're going to go on with the video, but look it up. Look at the origin of that word. Where does it come from? Because that's what everybody's been doing these days. They keep twisting words, misutilizing, talk about misinformation, disinformation. First of all, you can't make a statement unless you know the words you're using. And then enough people use it enough times that everyone starts to think that it means a certain thing. Look at the root of where that word is coming from. It sounds like a positive thing. And that's where, again, without him having to say it, watch this.
But revolutionary doctrine of intersectionality without...
See, the revolutionary, right? That word it has existed, but it's the way they're using it for this ideology. And the ideology, it's like, whether you want to call it a religion, okay? It's just a thought, a belief. It's all the same. But this is the new belief, religion, using words, twisting them. You know what I mean? And I'm talking for real, like what's up is down, what wet is dry, but dry is wet now. I mean, you get it? Everybody has common sense. And if you're questioning, if you're trying to be so open-minded, then you're not. You're not. There is no way around this. This is why I love to chat with you guys live. Keep me posted.
And what is that doctrine? Nothing more than the claim that human beings are characterized by identities that span multiple dimensions. Any given person has a race, ethnicity, sex, temperament, 5 dimensions there alone, intelligence level, etc. We've known that forever. It's only became a hot cultural item since fools noted the obvious fact that minority status might be additive or multiplicative. I hate to even point out, given that anyone with any sense whatsoever also knew without any statistical training that it was possible to be of Latino extraction, say, or even Latin X, to use that absurd, demeaning, and patronizing term, and female simultaneously. One cannot question this, however, without fear of being ostracized by one's colleagues. Note the chilling wording of Guideline 7. Psychologists understand the need to promote social change that reduces the negative effects of stigma on the health and well-being of TGNC people.
Guys, as much as he's heated and passionate, but at the same time, like, what a way to be class, sophisticated, educated. I mean, I could just go on with the words. It's just, if you can't find that funny, that's what I'm saying. Houston, we have a problem. You see what I mean? I believe that everybody's losing this right now. They're losing when to be funny because everybody's like, that's wrong. That's politically incorrect. That's that. You know what I mean? Like, you could point the finger all you want and tell people how to live. And then you want to tell people how they should live. But you don't want anybody to tell you how they don't want to live the way you want to live. You see you get what I'm saying? Like, this has got to stop because it's getting nowhere. It's going to do no good. It's doing no good. And at the end of the day, what do I do for a living? I make people happy. Okay. That's what I do. People come with me with a problem, a solution, a company that has issues. So they're not happy, right? I come in and I figure out what to do to make them happy, to make, whether it's a department, the company, a person, a conversation, a relationship. Even when people with their own selves, because they get in their own way. All right. Without being able to laugh, without being able to see the humor in everything, what's the point on living? Honestly, then you're just here to be combative. Because if you're here to be happy, you would be very different if you're the kind of person that's constantly pointing the finger. And most of us do it. I mean, it's human nature. But that's the whole thing, right? We're supposed to learn that that doesn't really work. It's natural for us to be defensive and point the finger, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I would love to see one instance that it does. Please share it with me. Would love that. All right, let's go. Continue with this, Jordan. Just cracking me up, guys. And I'm trying to be quiet here. I could have interrupted this already 50 times, but I really want you guys to be able to watch and listen. Okay, let's go.
In summary, if you're not an activist and one of our activists, then you better be watching over your shoulder. So what should govern my behavior as a therapist and your expectations as a client? The answer to that is whatever the activists deem a priority at their whim. And remember that in court, folks. Active malevolence. I'm increasingly ashamed to be a clinical psychologist given the utter cowardice, spinelessness, and apathy that characterizes many colleagues and even more so my professional associations.
I feel them.
At least in 20 years, when we all
come
to regret this terrible social experiment, I may be able to say, I said no when they all came to insist that we participate in the sacrifice of our children. Other countries, and Britain in particular, must not make the same mistakes as in the US and elsewhere. I cannot consent to what we were doing. I cannot abide by what have become the doctrines of my discipline. I believe that the acts of the medical professional rushing to disfigure, sterilize, and harm young people with what are clearly ill-advised, dangerous, and experimental procedures cross the line from doing.
I mean, seriously, who could not? I mean, perfectly well said. It's that simple. Let's not sugarcoat it. I used to be a teacher, guys. It's especially with young children, anybody even under 18. I mean, so much changes. There's so much going on, and these things are irreversible. And that's the other thing I keep hearing. They're lying about it. If before they start saying that, and if you're going to say it, if you're going to repeat that these procedures are reversible, like the hormone blockers, please look into it before a few years goes by and you don't want to feel like shit about what you said. You know what I mean? It's one of the worst things when people reach the end of their life is their regrets, and people, they go to the grave with it. So it's more about thinking before you speak, for real. Just because somebody says it doesn't make it a fact. It's irreversible. And that's what's killing me. That's why I'm so into how passionate he is about this topic here in this video, because it's not reversible. I mean, it's not the first time that doctors, we've always, crazy scientists, crazy doctors, crazy therapists. It's not the first time that we have people that are supposed to be helping and healing that are crazy. And they go, sociopaths kind of a behavior, you know what I mean? Oh, guys.
To outright harm. Only if we bury our heads in the sand will sterility, impaired or absent sexual function, complex reactions to poorly understood hormones, expense, and intermingled with all of that, misery and confusion continue for countless young people. We must address the threat posed to the integrity of the entire education system, as well as indoctrination into the same philosophy that spawned this surgical enterprise and the APA guidelines grows.
I'm sorry, guys. Come on. And he's doing it so I know I already gave you all these adjectives about it already, right? But I mean, he's not doing it maliciously. I hope you see that, right? Let me know.
It threatens general public trust that our peace and prosperity depends upon. And, by the way, it will most definitely be the case that a disproportionate number of children freed from their hypothetical gender confusion would have grown up to be physically intact and fully functional gay adults. Need I point out that this unpalatable fact makes a mockery of any claim that the extended alphabet world of the LGBTQ plus coterie in any sense constitutes a homogeneous and unified community. We have crossed the line from ideological possession to active malevolence, and we are multiplying our sin. There's an intersection for you, by attributing our appalling actions to compassion. Heaven help us. Truly.
Amen to that shit.
Right? Yeah, shoot. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, does it not make your blood boil? Do you not feel it? Do you not, you know what I mean? And again, it's not whether you agree or disagree. Because again, if you disagree, you better have a good, data bank of knowledge to disagree. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just don't see how you can disagree. You might not like it, but you can't. How can you disagree? Facts are facts. Number one, right? For what he said. But overall, I'm just getting the feeling that he's just sharing that, his disgust, his pain, his frustration, desperation. And like he mentioned, the compassionate word. Yeah, that is not compassion. Helping kids literally mutilate themselves is not compassion. That's not compassion, guys. Here's where I want to get. Here's how I'm going to wrap this up right now. We'll leave it for now. We can come back. We'll do a part 2 on this one after you guys leave me your comments and let me know. Because compassion is, and look it up in the dictionary, number one. But in a nutshell, in a simple modern way of saying it, meaning for everyone to understand, is that it's when you have the ability to feel the pain, the suffering of another. Whether you can have compassion towards an animal, you can have compassion towards a stranger. But the compassion is, not that I feel bad for them. That's not the same. Real compassion, you feel it. You feel it. So I understand that a lot of people don't understand compassion because a lot of people haven't suffered or they haven't had a lot of experiences out there. Most people, especially in the Western world, we're spoiled. So most of us live in a bubble or plugged into a phone. We're not suffering. We're not starving. We're not having to work hard for our food. You know how they say first world problems kind of a thing. I mean, these things are made up for a reason. So I find that it's always the case that the people that are truly compassionate have suffered and have suffered tremendously. And in many ways, in my personal experience for myself and what I've observed in all of my years on planet Earth, in this 3D, in this dimension, in this moment now, is it really makes it the connection, the instant connection you have with people. To have the instant compassion is when you or live the exact same thing or something very similar. So it's easy to say, I have compassion. I'm compassionate. I don't feel bad for them. Oh, let's help them. That's not compassion. If anything, find someone that has exact same pain, the exact same issue that's already been ahead, already been there, done that, and then have them sit down and talk and see how they react and how they see the situation. Not just anybody that's like, oh, this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to join the crowd that's doing it too. Because obviously if the crowd's doing it, it's right. Come on. Everybody knows that the crowd is never right. Ever since the beginning of time and history and human behavior. And again, do some research, do some reading, read how people have behaved. Even if you're not into religion, look into the Bible, read some of the stories. They're still tried and true today. I love reading. That's my bottom line. Okay, guys, that's what it is. And if it's a good book, that's a good book. And if there's something to learn and to understand, or to understand other people, is the other reason why I read books that I usually probably wouldn't read, but just so I can understand the others, the opposite, the different, I read it. And today with the internet, we have no excuse. None. And I am so passionate about the compassion of us loving each other. I don't need you to agree with me. Just be kind. Jesus. I want to make that the new popular. How about that? Who's here with me? Hey, Tiana. What's up, girl? I love that seeing you. I'm so glad you could make it. And wait, are you also following me on this channel too? Because you're on my other channel, right? Is this your first time on this channel? This is so sweet. It's so funny because I was going to do a quick live over there. Of course, totally different. More on the hacking happiness, which I don't know if you saw any of the videos or listened to the podcast. But anyway, I want to say hi. And I'm so glad because I was just about to wrap it up. And I go, okay, let me look at the comments and see. And how have you been? I know last time we spoke, you talked about, you were catching up, right? You were telling me like, what have I missed? Or like the one reading I did. So excited, by the way. I rewatched it and I was like, it just makes my day, makes my life. It's so important to me. And I'm finding ways of kind of like doing that. I don't know if you have become a member. I'm going to do a members live again. I'm doing them every week in the other channel. Anyway, let me focus on this channel. We'll see. I'll see you over there too, hopefully. But yeah, how long have you been on the chat? And where are you again? I forget. Did you say Houston? Why am I thinking Houston? There was a part in this video today where I'm like, Houston, we have a problem. You do miss them. I know. It's just there. Like I said, when I show up, it's no game, man. Like I'm for real. And I think I said that to you last time too. And I've said in other videos, I have to make sure I don't eat pork the day before I do a reading. And, I just, I have to make time. I have to block it on my schedule. I have to, you know what I mean? And it's a whole process, feng shuiing and, saging the stage. And then when I'm done, even if I only do the live for like an hour, when I read you, it's exhausting. And then I have other work I have to do. And then it makes me doing my full-time job harder. And I wish I could. I wish I could do it. Maybe I'll finally get a sponsor, right? Let me know if you can hook me up with a sponsor, because that's what I need to do. I just need to make sure that I can, make a living off of it so that I can continue doing what I love to do. Again, even if you can reach out to me privately and, and book a session, I know what you're saying, because I really did enjoy it. It was so new to me and got me through COVID, right? Got me through that whole breakdown. I hope it did the same to you. But so yeah, what do you think about the title today? What do you think about this channel and this video today? Oh, you're in Arkansas. Of course. I do remember that. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you know who Jordan Peterson is? Yeah. Sometimes I don't know if there's a lag, or maybe you don't even want to. Well, I'll tell you what. You're probably like rushing. I know, right? Because I don't want to be like quiet in the middle of the live. If there was other people talking, right? We'd all be back and forth, back and forth. Like you said, I never knew compassion until when I went through things with my last relationship. Wow, I just got tears in my eyes. Like I just stopped myself so that I don't get I get goofy. I'm really sensitive. Oh my God, yes. And I love the channel. And no, I don't know him. That's good because I'm glad because I want to introduce certain people that are already out there, mainstream. They got a ton of followers, they're big in the world and whatnot. But I want to give my angle because I'm telling you, everything's like two-sided. And you know where I come from because you know me from my other channel. So you know. So I'm so glad you're here, girl. But I'm going to go for now. This is to be continued. I want you to watch the video. I'm going to, when I end this live right now, I'm going to put the link in the description. If you want to, upload it yourself and do your research about this guy, that'd be awesome. And make sure that after you watch it, leave me a comment underneath this video. Okay, girl. Much love.